Welcome to Facilitators of Change, Leader as Organization Architect lesson. The objective of this lesson is to conduct a consolidated assessment and analysis and develop an improvement plan that includes all 14 components of the leadership and design blueprint. Specifically, you will complete a consolidated assessment of all the 14 leadership and design blueprint components, and then you'll complete a consolidated analysis that brings it all together. Finally, you'll identify strengths and opportunities for improvement and develop an improvement plan. In each of the assessment lessons in the 14 modules, including this one, you completed a 9-question assessment worksheet. You will use those in this next exercise and add to them. So you're going to update them and then color code them. So you'll use a color coding system like this to replace the numbers in the Likert scale for each one. As you do this, take the time to update the scores from those previous worksheets. Or if you prefer, you can download all 14 worksheets and start fresh and do a whole new assessment starting now. So beginning with Module 1, Forces of Change, you'll color code each response that you had using the color code that we just showed. And so that you end up with a visual display that's also color-coded. And you're going to do this, the same thing, for stakeholder value, and then for compelling directive, and then focused strategy, the E3 people, redesign of systems, comprehensive scorecard, org performance review, basically all 14 components here: align, coach, and appreciate, learn and improve, the collaborative leadership, culture of service, individual leader characteristics, and the one you just recently did in this module, Facilitators of Change. And once you've done that, in order to do that for yourself, you're going to first download the blank assessment worksheets, all 14 in total, or use the worksheets that you've already completed in the assessment lessons in modules 1 through 14. It's really your choice. You can take the old ones and update them and then color code them, or start fresh. And complete or revise the scores for each of the assessment worksheets. Spend some time on this, reflect on it, and then once you've done that, color code each cell and you're ready to go. Some people prefer to spread out the 14 sheets and analyze each one of them and identify opportunities for improvement. However, there is value in developing a consolidated visual display of the scores. And to do that, we use a 9x14 matrix. In this instance, the question number is in each cell. So the modules are across the top, 1 through 14. So the columns are the modules. And the numbers in the cells are actually the question numbers. So there's 126 total questions that you've answered in those 14 worksheets. And so you then replace the question number with the actual agree score scale. And then you can take those, add them up, and divide by 9 and get a mean for each one of them at the bottom. Once you've done that, you can then take the color codes and you can color code it, and that creates a different visual display for analysis. Now, based on this, you can start, there's really no cross-cutting themes on the rows for this LTSE assessment like there was in the 9x9. So those don't exist here. The only way, 2 ways to analyze this are by each module in the columns and look at the different patterns for each column, and the individual low scoring items. So first, you can identify, let's say column number 7, we'll put a red box around that. That is a fairly low scoring item. You can see there's 1 dark red, 2 reds, a pink, and a bunch of yellow. There's only 1 green in that whole column. The column next to it, 8, which is the organization performance review, is only slightly better with a little more pink, no dark red, still only 1 green. So those 2 stand out in this whole grouping, with a lot of red and a lot of yellow, very little green. And finally, 14 is similar but it has actually one strong green spot, but the rest are pretty low other than the first question. So if you take away the rest of it, then these become a little easier to see and a little clearer. And there's basically the three lowest scoring items here are the comprehensive scorecard, number 7, the organization performance review, number 8, and facilitators of change, this module, number 14. And so this is one way to look at it, and look at entire modules together and analyze those and highlight the areas. And you may develop strategies around addressing an entire module when they look like this, like taking a look at the entire comprehensive scorecard and developing a holistic strategy as opposed to looking at pieces and parts. Now, another thing you can do is add back in the lowest scoring items. And if you do that, you'll see that there's quite a few opportunities for improvement in the other modules or the other components of the leadership and design blueprint. These might be worth addressing individually, one at a time. And so these also might be important opportunities for improvement, but it might not be the whole component that needs to be looked at. It may only be one aspect or dimension of it. And so there's two ways to look at this. One, the entire modules or the entire component at a time, like the comprehensive scorecard or the organization performance review. And another way to analyze and highlight areas for improvement are individual dimensions or pieces within a component when the rest of the component might be doing okay or not too bad. In this case, there's not a lot of high scoring components in this particular example. As you look at the means across the bottom, most are in the 3 range and a couple 4 in the 4 range. You can take those means at the very bottom and display them on what you might call a LTSE heat map on the leadership and design framework or blueprint. And that'll give you another way to visually display this information to analyze it. So the goal of these different displays are to highlight the opportunities for improvement and the strengths, so that you can then develop a strategy, do some prioritization, and develop an approach to improving on these areas and a more holistic plan. So over the 14 modules, we did this one module at a time, one component at a time, and you developed plans and started working on them. Now you're looking at them all together as you launch off and beyond this leading transformation lab and start working on the pieces of the organization and redesigning systems in the organization. This provides an overall look at what's going on and where you stand. So to do this for yourself, the first step is download the blank LTSE consolidated analysis worksheet. So that's that 9x14 matrix. And there's both a manual version and a PowerPoint version with a table if you like to make it easier if you use PowerPoint. And complete that worksheet, put all your results and populate that into the 14 assessment areas and all 126 questions. And then analyze the results, highlight the strengths and opportunities for improvement. And once you've done that, you'll be ready to move on to the improvement plan. So the improvement plan is similar to other leadership improvement plans. We begin with the strengths to leverage. What are the strengths that you identified in the LTSE assessment results and analysis? In other words, what activities should you keep and reinforce? Next, what are the key opportunities for improvement identified in your LTSE consolidated analysis? And what activities need to change or be improved? And what are the top few things you could do to improve in those areas? And this is where you might want to step back and say, let's approach a few of these at a time, 1 or 2, maybe 3, depending on your resources and your availability, and depending on how big these improvement areas are, will drive how many you can take on at a particular time. And do some prioritization here. That'll save you a little bit of time in the next lesson. So based on the LTSE assessment analysis worksheets, identify your strengths and to leverage and your opportunities for improvement. And then based on all the inputs, identify the areas that you think are the biggest opportunities for improvement that you might want to propose for the next lesson. So to do this for yourself, download the blank Facilitators of Change Leadership Improvement Plan worksheet, complete that by yourself, and then take this one and shop it around. Explain it to your colleagues, your boss, get their feedback. This is a pretty comprehensive assessment and deserves the input of several people. You may have chosen to do this entire exercise as a group, even though it's a leadership as organization architect, kind of a personal improvement approach and plan. This is actually a pretty comprehensive assessment and a consolidated view here in our last module of the entire leadership activities all the way across the blueprint. So we'd recommend you do this as a group or get feedback from colleagues, boss, and then incorporate that into a revised plan. And once you've done that, you're ready to move on to the last lesson in the Leading Transformation Lab, which is Recreate the Organization, where you'll bring all of this together and come up with the plan to move forward beyond the lab. We'll see you there.